Hi there guys, welcome back to another video, and in this week's video we're going over some of the top asset classes that you need to be investing in order to build your wealth. So I'll be going over around 4 asset classes. I'll be giving you the positives and the negatives, and then towards the end I'll be giving you my opinion as well. But before we get into the video, if you do enjoy, please do leave a like and please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. But without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. So for the asset class number 1, this is property. Now we all know property is a tremendous asset class and it's something we cover a lot on this channel. However, I don't want to make this whole video just about property. But property is a great strategy that you can use in order to build your wealth. So the first positive to that is, obviously with property, you are in control of absolutely everything. And again, this can be a positive and this can be a negative. In order for it to be a positive, you need to be buying in the correct area, you need to be buying the correct kind of property, and you need to be having the correct kind of tenants. If you can manage to do all of this, then everything should go as smoothly as it possibly can, unless a refurbishment is involved, but again, that's a whole new video in itself. But where it can be a negative is where you buy in a bad area, a bad kind of property, maybe you buy on too much leverage and you've attracted the wrong kind of tenants. This is where property can become an absolute nightmare. However, if you are looking to invest in property, do be sure to check out the rest of our content on this channel, just so you don't make those typical mistakes. And then again, with property, another huge benefit to this is the fact that you get paid twice. Now, what do I mean by this? So essentially, the first payment is obviously that monthly cash flow you're getting in. So again, in the areas we tend to source, that could usually range from around £250 to £350 profit a month. Again, that's completely hands off. So again, that's really, really good. Not only are you benefiting from that, you're also benefiting from the capital appreciation. However, if you buy in a really good area where there's some really, really good capital growth, then when it comes to you selling the property or maybe even refinancing, you can sell with a profit. So that's property, that's the first asset class. Don't need to go too much into that, as we all know it is an amazing asset class to be invested in. But asset class number 2, and again, another one I'm very passionate about, is stocks. Stocks can be an absolutely amazing way to build your wealth, but you have to be super careful. Because if you invest all your money, or even just a small amount of your money, into a risky company, then you can lose that in a matter of seconds. See, this is the difference between stocks and property. Your loss can be so much more severe, as anything can happen and it can be wiped out in a matter of seconds. However, this only happens if you invest into a really, really, really risky company. Say for example, you invest into Google, you won't lose that all in seconds, but again, there is still that risk and that element of the risk where you could gradually lose money over time. But then again, that's like any other asset class, so it really shouldn't be your main concern. Another thing about stocks as well is, although the returns can be incredible, it's not a tangible asset. And what I mean by this is, when it's gone, it's gone. I mean, don't get me wrong, you'll still own the stocks of the company, but say for example, you invested into a really, really risky company and some bad press has just come about and it's dropped 90%. You know, you're still holding on to those stocks, but it's really unlikely for you to break even because it's gone down by so much. Whereas with property, you've got that tangible asset. You know, if things don't go right, you've still got the property, it's bricks and mortar. Over time, it's usually going to go up in value. However, like anything, bigger risk means bigger rewards. If you invest into these risky companies, there is a chance that you can lose everything, but there's also a chance that you can gain significant amounts of returns. Now again, stocks in itself can be quite risky, but you want to be making these calculated risks. You know, if you're looking for these high returns, 100, 200% returns in a year, that's quite common, especially in today's market. I mean, 2020 was just phenomenal for that. Again, if you are looking for these stocks and you do have to do some research, you will have to make these risks, but hopefully they will pay off. But like any investment model, and especially with stocks, research is extremely important. You do not want to go into investing completely blind. You know, everyone knows you can make money in stocks, everyone knows you can make money in property, but you have to do some more research. You know, just owning any random stock or any random property isn't going to guarantee you wealth. So that's the asset class number 2, and that's stocks. We all know that is an amazing asset class when done correctly. But for asset class number 3, quite a common one, but not a lot of people tend to talk about, is commodities, so gold and silver really. Now gold and silver are an amazing investment, and you know, over time they are going to increase in value. However, I've got a slightly different opinion towards them. Now don't get me wrong, gold and silver is amazing, you know, there's always going to be a demand there, but if you're just starting out, I wouldn't invest too much into gold, as you know, the returns really aren't anything too crazy. However, what I would use gold for is a hedge against inflation, almost as its own currency in a sense. Now the thing about gold is you shouldn't really treat it as an investment, as you're not really going to get rich by it. Gold is very expensive to buy. Don't get me wrong, over time it will go up in value, but unlike property and stocks, the value in which it goes up is not going to be anything that's going to make you super rich. So that's asset class number 3, and that's gold and silver. Again, not too much to talk about because everyone kind of understands that market. The returns aren't amazing, but the demand is always going to be there for it. It's a great hedge against inflation, and it's usually just one of those things you want to keep into your portfolio. Maybe you don't want to hold too much of it, but just have some of it almost just as like a buffer or an emergency fund type of investment. Now for the fourth and the final asset class, this is cryptocurrency. Now this has been spoken about all over 2020 and 2021, especially over the past couple of days where crypto has kind of diminished in value. It's been absolutely insane, but again, crypto is kind of still a new investment model, and it's been absolutely amazing if you can time it perfectly. Now don't get me wrong, of these 4 asset classes, cryptocurrency is probably the one I'm not too educated in. However, I think we all know there is definitely going to be a future for cryptocurrency. It's just finding out what it can potentially be used for. Again, I know it came out ages ago, and I know we had that first spike in 2017, but I genuinely think cryptocurrency is just at the start of its movement. Now again, I'm not a crypto fanboy. I don't own too much crypto, only a very, very small amount. And unfortunately, I did buy it last week, which was almost at all-time highs. But yeah, it's just one of those things. And again, it really does come down to the same thing over and over again of doing your research. Are you going to be holding this for long term or short term? With crypto, it's not something I'm hugely educated on, which is why I only put a small amount in just so I can kind of test the waters and see if I really like it as an investment plan. However, the one thing about crypto I'm not too favorable of, and again, it kind of has it in all of the asset classes, but it's these coins that don't really have any sense of value. So, obviously, it's all fun and games with the Dogecoin, the SafeMoon. A lot of people have made significant amounts, but that doesn't mean that you should necessarily be investing into it. If you can, get at the start of that wave and make some really good money, then that's great. But when it's at all-time highs, it's probably something you want to stay away from. Now, I'm not saying don't invest into it, and if you invest into it now, you'll lose all your money. There's still a chance that if you put money into it, you could make some serious amount. However, if you are investing into these coins that have no value, the likelihood is they are going to lose you money. So those are the top 4 asset classes that I can really think of, and are usually the most common ones. But out of those 4, what are my favorites? What do I really rely on and I think will always be around? Now, I think all of them will be around for a very long time, but my top 2 favorites is first, obviously, property. I think property is a really good investment, but not too far behind. I really do think stocks is an absolutely amazing investment avenue to go down. The reason why property is my number 1 is just the scalability sense to it. You can be working on smaller deals, whether this is just turnkey buy-to-lets, 200, 300 pounds profit a month, or you could be buying really big developments or really big multi-family units with 50 to 100 units generating you thousands a month. That's the thing I love about property. And the other thing, it's obviously really enjoyable. Turning a really poor house into a wonderful house, selling it on for a profit is just an absolutely incredible feeling. And obviously number 2 being stocks. Stocks is phenomenal. I really do enjoy the numbers side of it. I really do enjoy the analytical side, and obviously the returns and the compound interest with stocks can be incredible. If you're not a big stock person, I'd still advise you or suggest that you look into an index fund, whether that's the S&P 500 or the FTSE 100. These can be very powerful, especially if you're just starting out. The compound interest will be incredible. What I think everyone should almost have is kind of have all 4 of these in your portfolio, but still have that main asset class that you strive for. So for example, mine being property, I'd focus heavily on property, but still have quite a big stock portfolio, a bit of gold and a bit of cryptocurrency as well, just so you're nicely diversified. Say for example, you had all your money tied into crypto. This week must be absolutely painful for you. Whereas if you had more money in stocks and property, then it wouldn't have affected you too much. It's just about trying to diversify your portfolio as nicely as you possibly can. I wouldn't necessarily say have all 4 corners equal. I'd say pick an asset class that you really like, dive deep into that, but still have other asset classes in your portfolio. So that's everything for this week's video. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like, but most importantly, do be sure to comment below your favorite asset class or an asset class that we missed off, as it would be absolutely amazing to get your guys' opinions. But until next week, we'll see you soon.